Uh, Greetings and welcome to Art 1035. I'm Shannon Stoney. I'm the professor for this class. And the first video here is just going to be an introduction to the kind of nuts and bolts of the course, which I wrote about some in the introduction to the class that's on the front page of your course. But I just thought I'd go over some of it in this little video also. So let me share my screen with you and show you the syllabus, which you can download from the content under the syllabus module. Okay. I hope you can see this. Let's see. Okay, so hopefully you can see the syllabus here. Obviously, since this class is online, where it says eLearn enhancement, the whole thing is in eLearn, really. Now, it's important to buy the textbook. A lot of times people try to postpone buying the text, or they decide not to buy the text. That would be a huge mistake for this course. You absolutely do need the text. So go ahead and buy that as soon as possible. You don't need the digital My Arts Lab part of the text. So if you just want to buy used text without an access card, that's fine. In fact, the access card has always been a huge problem. So if you can get the hard copy, I think you'll be happier with that than with a digital text. It's just easier. If you really absolutely cannot by any means afford the 12th edition, it's okay to get the 11th edition, but just know that the quizzes are keyed to the 12th edition, and so the quizzes may refer to some images and works of art that are not in the 11th edition. So that could be a little bit of a problem. There is a copy of the 12th edition at the library on the Czech campus. So if you're willing to go over there and use the library, you could do it that way. Okay, so the way it's going to work is I record 2 Zoom lectures a week, most weeks, and then you know they're about one of the chapters in the book. So this week there'll be the first week of the course, there'll be a video lecture posted about chapter 1 and a video lecture posted about chapter 2. So you should read chapter 1, watch the video lecture, read chapter 2, watch the video lecture. Also take notes during the video lecture. That'll save you some time when you get to the quiz and to the midterm and all of that. So you can stop. Obviously, you can stop the video at any point and write something down. You can go back and watch it again, but most people won't have time to watch it more than once. So what I would recommend doing is just watching it once and taking notes. So in the video lectures, I cover things that are not covered in the text. That's the way college works. In the lectures, professors present their research independently and above and beyond what the text tells you, because you know, we assume you can read the text, and we have advanced degrees, so we're supplementing the text with our own research, and the quizzes will include questions that cover the lecture material as well as the material in the text. So you need both. I don't just reiterate in the lecture what's in the text. That doesn't make sense to me. I don't just point out what's important from the text and nothing else is. I don't do that either. So both are important. The text is important and the lectures are important. Everything in the text that is assigned and everything in the lecture is important. Okay, so now we're going to go down to the grading method. Okay, so 33% of your grade is an exhibition essay. And this is an assignment that was created by the art department in Gallatin for all Art 1035 students. And back when, you know, school was in person and there was no pandemic, the assignment was to go to an art exhibition, a museum or gallery, and look at the exhibition and then write an essay about it. And you could still do it that way. A lot of people did last semester. They went to the Frist Center or some other museum or gallery and looked at an exhibit in person. And that I think is reasonably safe. The Frist Museum in Nashville is very careful about how many people they allow into the museum at a time. And everybody has to wear a mask. If you're not comfortable wearing a mask, don't go to the Frist Museum because you have to. But in case you don't want to go out in public and you don't have time to go to Nashville, and I think the Tennessee Tech Gallery may be closed. I'm not certain about that. You can look at an exhibit online and write about that. And I provide you with links to some online exhibits that you can write about instead. So you can choose one of those exhibits and look at it and write about some of the works of art in that exhibit. There's a whole content module about how to write the exhibition essay, and I'll go over it in the future also in some of the lectures. So, but it's just something to be thinking forward about, you know. Okay, so another 33% of your grade is made up of the tests, which consist of some online quizzes that cover the chapters that we're going over in the text and the lectures. And those are sort of on a weekly basis. There's one or two a week. And then there's a midterm test, which is a written essay type test, obviously, that you do at home. It's an open source test. And then a final exam, which is similar. It's an essay style test that's an open source test. And then 34% of your grade is your participation. And the participation grade, you get one participation grade a week, and that's based on a discussion question that you write after you view the lectures and do the reading. Then you write a discussion question for the Zoom discussion on Friday. And you don't have to actually attend that Zoom discussion, but you do have to submit a question for it. If you do attend the Friday Zoom discussion session, you get an extra 5 points for that week on your grade. So last semester, there was usually maybe a dozen people at the Zoom discussion on Friday morning, which I think they were always around from 11 to 12. And I send out a Zoom invitation for that. So that's just something that some people like. It's not required. If you can't do it, then that's okay. It's for extra credit. But regardless of whether you attend that lecture or not, that discussion period or not, you still have to submit a question to the Dropbox. So there's more for that chapter. There's more information about how to write a good discussion question in the content under the module, how to write discussion questions. So read that, and I think you'll get it. And it takes most people a few times to figure out what a discussion question is, as opposed to just a factual question. But if you read the handout in that module, you'll figure it out. Okay, so then there's a bunch of stuff about not using your cell phone during class, which is a bit irrelevant at this point, since we're all online all the time. Okay, so, and then there's an outline of the basic things that we're going to be covering here. The first part of the course is kind of artist shop talk, you could say, like what artists talk about when they talk about art, like, the elements of art, composition, different media, the art market, blah, blah, blah. Then the second part, the second 2/3, you could say, really, of the class is basically a world art history class. So it's kind of a review of history, of world history, and an introduction to the history of art. Now, every semester, there are people who are shocked and maybe sometimes even offended by the fact that a lot of art that we look at, beginning in the very first lecture, really involves nudity. Now, maybe that was not okay when you were in high school, but hey, you're in college now. There are adult situations and language. I mean, I try not to say any bad words, but sometimes they slip out. Sorry. But there is nudity. So that surprises a lot of people, but just roll with it. That's the way art is. It's about the beautiful, fantastic human body, which is something that artists have been fascinated with since prehistoric times. And it's a very interesting aspect of art history to see how people have changed their representation of the nude human body, whether male or female. Now, the other, most people have a little trouble. A lot of people have a little trouble with that. They kind of get over it, though. But then the next thing that annoys people sometimes is that a lot of contemporary art is pretty political, and sometimes it's intended to sort of push your buttons and be provocative in one way or another. And again, just roll with it. You don't have to like it. You definitely don't have to love it. Just kind of go, that's interesting. Try to get inside the head of the person who made it. I mean, it's okay to have a little outrage at first. I mean, I've experienced that. Sometimes just because something is so ugly that you can't understand how it could be in an art gallery or something. That's what usually bothers me first. But if I think about it for a few days, then I kind of usually figure out why it was like that. So, you don't have to like it. You're just trying to understand it, kind of, and put it in the context of the period it was, the time and place where it was created, which might be right now. Or it could have been 1,000 years ago. So just kind of try not to be too upset by that. Just as I put in the syllabus here, try to engage with it. Yeah, just kind of, it's not going to kill you. It's not going to jump out of the screen and get you, So just kind of roll with it. Okay, now the other big issue that we have in this class, I talk about in this paragraph, and that is plagiarism. It's always a problem. So there's always somebody who doesn't believe me when I say don't plagiarize. So hopefully in high school, you learned what plagiarism was and you learned how not to do it. And if you didn't learn that in high school, hopefully you are learning it or did learn it in your introductory writing class at Vol State. It just means don't copy somebody else's sentence from the internet or a book or whatever and put it in your writing and pretend that you wrote it. That's intellectual property theft. I mean, it's like, well, it's kind of like stealing, when you rent a DVD, I don't know if anybody still does this anymore, but it says, don't download this to your hard drive and steal it. Well, it's kind of like that, only it's a major academic offense. Maybe you wouldn't get caught if you stole a movie or something, but I can tell when you're plagiarizing because it doesn't sound like you anymore. For a while, you're talking in your voice, and then suddenly you switch to the voice of somebody else, and it doesn't sound like you. And I take that sentence and I Google it, and guess what? It wasn't a student. It was some art historian on the internet. So what you need to learn to do is to paraphrase other people's words and put it in your own words. And that doesn't mean taking somebody else's sentence, copying it into your essay, and then changing 2 or 3 words. That's still plagiarism. So if you have any concerns or questions about how to avoid plagiarism, let me know and I'll go over it with you in person. But really, that's something that most college students should understand by now. but there's always somebody who does it on the midterm or on their exhibition essay or on the exam. And some people do it repeatedly. So that's just not good. That earns you a 0. Plagiarism gets you a 0. And as some people say, but it was only one sentence. That doesn't matter. You just can't have plagiarism. If you have to quote somebody, put it in quotes and say where you got it. That's all. It's not that hard. Okay. I think that's everything about the syllabus. Now let me close this document. Oops. Okay, so now I'm gonna show you, if I can find it, the schedule of readings. Okay. Oh, damn it. That's not it. Oh, here, no, that's not it either. Okay, here's the schedule of readings. Okay, so in the content under the schedule of readings module is a schedule that we're going to follow this semester. And it tells you every week what to read. And there'll also be lectures about that chapter, but expanding on that chapter. There'll be things in the lecture that are not in the text, but it'll be a lecture about chapter 1 and a lecture about chapter 2. So that week you read those chapters in the text and you watch those videos and you look at the associated content in the content module, and then you write a discussion question about, like the first week, about chapters 1 and chapters 2. Choose one work of art from either of those lectures, either from chapter 1 or chapter 2, and write a question about it. And then same for the next week. Now, I give people a little time to get, oh, sorry about that. I give people a little time to get a hold of a text. So the quizzes don't start until next week. But you still need to write the discussion question, and we're still going to have the Zoom discussion on that Friday. So go ahead and get the text as quickly as possible. All my little alarms are going off at once. Stop. Let me see if I can make. Okay. Yeah, where was I? All right. Yeah, the online quizzes aren't due until the second week because I want to give you time to get a textbook and everything. But the questions over chapter 1 and chapter 2, over the video lectures, are, if you don't have a text, just watch the lecture and make up the lectures and make up a question about a work of art that's in the lecture for chapter 1 or chapter 2, but get the text as soon as you can. And then it's just up to you to keep up with the schedule during the semester. I'm not going to tell you at the end of each class, okay, class, next week, read this and this and this, because we're just going to stick to this. We don't get behind, and obviously we don't get ahead, but it's up to you just to know what's going on every week. And the due dates and everything will be in the events in the eLearn part of your course. Okay, so I think that's all the main information that you need to know about the course in general. And I'm gonna create another video that's about chapter 1 in a minute. So see you later. Bye.